everybody. Talking Art. I'm Debbie LaPratt. And of course, Calibri is still on her sabbatical, enjoying her summer. So you're at WJZZ Cool Jazz TV, the coolest station in the world. Please like, share, subscribe, and follow. And I am here with my wonderful co-host.
Dawood Shabazz.
Yes, and our wonderful guest. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank
We have
you,
Erica.
Owens,
Yes, Erica Owens from.
Frugal on the Fly.
Yes, so, oh my God, it's just so exciting. Erica has been a busy lady. She's got an event tomorrow. She's also an artist, and her son wrote a book. Did he write a book?
He's a character in a
He's
book.
a character in the book. So we got lots and lots and lots to share and stuff like that. So, you want to tell us very briefly a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Do you want me to talk about Frugal on the Fly?
Yeah,
or anything,
whatever you want
or-
to talk about. Talk about
Sure.
yourself. How'd you get started? And
Yeah, so I started Frugal on the Fly about 4 years ago, and really, it's how I parent. So I like to take advantage of all the free and cheap things to do around town. And I kept doing that. That's how we, navigate our life and expose our kiddo to lots of things. And everyone would text me like, "How do you do all these things? Like, it's so expensive." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we only go to the museum free days or the free concerts."
that's cool. She can
Yeah.
tell you where to go for free. Which is really
Yeah.
cool. And also,
Yeah.
where do you live?
Yeah, I live in Lafayette Park. So.
And she lives in Detroit, so
Downtown
she's always
Detroit,
around
yeah.
Detroit and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, so really it was lots of the first 2 years of this organization was just constantly promoting all the things, whether it was fun things to do with your kiddos, cool, interesting alternative date nights, and then even resources like do you need help with utilities or maybe
That's really
free
good to know.
diapers.
Nobody knew about. I didn't know about that that you all did. Did you have any idea?
No,
I had no
I'm just
idea.
not finding out about the Frugal on the Fly
Yeah,
since that
yeah.
And
just
there's a
came.
reason for on the fly. Like I'm not a huge planner,
Uh-huh.
so a lot of the
Neither am I.
bloggers that were, frugal tended to be like lots of planning, lots of meal planning, lots of couponing, and I was like, gosh, I just seem to kind of, ooh, that's free
I call
today.
it running. I call it running, shooting from the hips. Is what I call it.
All
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
was like, this basically where frugal on the fly came from.
I
So
like
it
that.
gives you like the sense of spontaneity and
I like
and
that.
taking advantage of like, hey, this is free tomorrow. I just found out about one.
Yeah.
You wanna, yeah,
So
yeah.
take advantage of those opportunities. You never know. New music, new styles, all kinds
I
of
love
things
that.
to
That's
do.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's beautiful.
And then
love
it grew during the pandemic. So in June of 2020 is really when it shifted. We always had an arm of service to our organization. We're a big volunteer.
Are you guys a
people.
nonprofit or are you okay?
Yep,
So you're a
yep.
nonprofit.
And so in June of 2020, we started doing this free produce Fridays in a parking lot in Hamtramck. So
Okay.
we started with 25 families. There were these 32-pound boxes of fresh produce.
Oh,
And
that's so nice.
yeah, and so it quickly grew to 250 families a week and then 2,000 families a week.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes. And me and
Word of
my
mouth.
8-year-old son started this, and then before we knew it, people were asking, like, how can we help? And I said, gosh, if we had more hands down here, we could pass out more food. Or if you could follow me to TCF Center when I go get the food, we could have more vehicles, less trips,
That
we
is
could
so
feed more.
That's
cool.
beautiful.
So then when we hit the 2,000 families, I was now not going to TCF anymore. 2 semi-loads would come every Friday morning to my parking lot.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and then in 23 weeks, we passed out over 1 million pounds of produce.
1 million pounds of
Wow.
food.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
That's a lot of help to a
We're
lot
in
of
we're in
families.
Highland Park.
Hamtramck.
Hamtramck. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. We're in
on the
Hamtramck.
corner of Joseph Campbell and Holbrook. So
Oh.
right in that plaza.
Oh, yeah, I know
Yeah,
where that
you
is.
know
I
exactly
know
where it
exactly
is.
where that is.
Yeah.
It's right where the dollar tree is
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yep,
And the-
Secretary of State, all
Yeah.
that. We were on that corner
I
every
didn't-
Friday morning. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you guys still there?
From
or?
June to October. No, it was the USDA Farm to Families grant, so that was only a certain amount of time.
Okay.
And so that ended in October, and then I did Warm the Line, where we kept voters warm at the polls. We've spearheaded a women's shelter remodel. We've done diaper drives,
Oh
coat
my God.
drives.
I had no idea.
Yeah, tons
That's-
of stuff.
I
Yeah.
had,
So
I had
much
no
know.
idea.
Yeah.
I just thought you
No.
I always see her at all the events and everything like that.
I've just thought known when I met her that being a great artist, but
Yeah.
then when I
Yeah.
researched and seen, I said, "Oh, she's a CEO of Fruit on the Fly."
You're
Yeah.
going, wow.
Yeah, surprise.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
so cool.
So how did you from that be inspired to create your art?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a surprise as well. So Scott McDuffie
Yes.
said, I would love to give you a present for all the community work you do. And I said, oh, what's that? He's like, why don't you come to the studio and paint? Like more of just, you know,
Hang
be
on.
free, listen
Right,
to music. And I
right.
was like, well, I've never done that before, you know. And he's like, that's it, though. That'd be fun. Like,
Yeah.
That is so
like,
cool.
all right, yeah.
See?
Yeah,
So
Scott is such a cool guy.
Yeah.
he's so great.
Yeah,
And
Scott
he's
was-
been a supporter of mine. Like when and let's see, that was March of 2021. I shut down a street in Detroit and did an all-day jazz festival with 5 bands.
Okay.
And we did this fundraiser.
Okay.
And so Scott, I booked him to
That's
paint
where
live.
I was. I was there. Yes.
Yeah, do you
Where the
remember
plane
that?
was.
Yes.
It was a live
Yeah.
painting? Was
Yeah.
it live
Yeah,
painting?
that
Scott
was my
did-
event. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I was down there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he live painted to that. So we've, kind of known each other for a
Right.
bit. So he offered that treat to me, and he said, bring your little guy too. Like, we just get a canvas and come on down. And I said, all right. So when I got done, he was like, wow, you should keep painting. And I was like, really? And
Wow.
he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
See?
kept painting, and then it turned into,
So
different
how
shows.
long has it been you've been painting?
So let's see. It was June last year.
Yeah. So
Okay.
she's a newbie.
And it,
Yeah.
yeah, but
A
it
year.
inspired
She's a newbie,
her
but
to
she's
have
good.
her solo.
Yeah,
inspired
you
Yeah.
to
like
and
being
get
an
your
exhibit,
solo,
and I
yeah.
just finished a solo show.
That's
right.
right. She
Yeah.
had a
at the gallery
solo
in
show.
Detroit.
Right.
So,
That's
yeah,
great.
So,
See?
yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
That's so
You got
cool.
you got that energy sparked and say,
She's
wow.
like, oh, I got that paintbrush in my
Right.
hand. And I
Right.
got
I already
that
had
thing.
all
Yeah.
that spreading energy for the community, but then
That's
you
so
see all that energy that was there, just ready to pop out.
It's
And
so
Scott just said,
interesting.
"Yeah, come
Yeah.
on."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they would, like him and Marta and Amanda Cost, they would just kind of text me now and then, like, are you still painting? And I'm like, a little bit here
Yeah,
and
see,
there. But
yeah,
Yeah.
I just thought it was awesome because I never really had a way to process trauma. Like, I didn't. I, would bury it or
Yeah.
ignore it.
Right.
And I just could leave it on the canvas. So
See?
I'm like,
Yeah.
so Amanda was the one that pointed out, like, I don't think you're just an abstract artist. You're an abstract expressionist because your soul
So
is on
explain to
those
people
canvas.
what an abstract expressionist
Well,
is.
yeah, and I really wasn't aware of it either until she said that. But she said, you're not, as you say, like just throwing colors on the canvas. She was like, we can tell what you feel in that moment,
Right.
and your work has energy. And everyone kept saying that in the solo show. They would come in that room and they're like, whoa, even if they didn't know me, like there's just this energy in here. And so things pop out of my work. You might see people or all kinds of different figures
Right.
in what we think is
That's
just
so cool.
paint blobs, right?
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
really not. And so
That's-
she was pointing that out that, there's a lot of emotion in these, and I noticed that too when I finished, and so that's really how that evolved.
That's
into
so
that.
much
That's
fun,
really
isn't it?
cool.
Yeah,
So
and
much
she's like,
fun.
a lot of times it is something that people attain to with training.
Mhm.
She's like, you've had no training; it's just in you. So it's like this innate thing, and she's like, you can just leave it up there and let people enjoy it. And that's really what I did. Is like I was trying so hard to find joy, and
Mhm.
so I kept doing that through my work. And so I called my solo show "Joy Journey" because I was just on this journey to,
That's so
be
cool.
happier.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
you were at the where was it? The Little Caesars Arena was it thing, or was it where was your solo show? Where was
Oh,
it?
it was at 14 East, so it is
It was
the
the-
gallery inside the Mike Ilitch College of
That's
Business.
right, the college.
And it's right on Woodward, right near Little Caesars
Yeah,
Arena. So
yeah, yeah.
super
That's a
easy
great
to
area.
find. It's
It's
a
a
great
great
area.
area.
Yeah.
It's a nice little place.
Yeah, and you came, so
I
you
came,
know.
yeah.
And it has a lot of natural light that comes in, and
Oh,
so
it's-
it's a really
It's
beautiful
a really
space.
cool. They have coffee and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and that
that's
is
what's
also
really,
a meeting room, so sometimes people are in there for meetings, and you just get surrounded
and they get to
by
look
art.
at your work.
How did you come about that solo in that
Really, I did Palmer Park Art
Mhm.
Fair, and so
space?
that was
Okay, so
exciting.
you've been spreading, see?
Yeah, we were at Palmer
I
Park.
see.
Woo!
Yeah.
I know, this has been a wild year. Honestly, I still pinch myself.
It's been an exciting
constantly.
and expressing year.
Yeah, because I keep applying to things and I keep getting in. And I was
Yeah.
in Cleavery and Debbie's show Out of the Darkness. I
Right.
had 3 pieces in
Right.
that. And so, a lot of it just kept happening.
Yeah.
And so I applied for Palmer Park and I got in, and that was a
How did you like it?
surprise.
That was your
I
first. That was both of your
absolutely
first
loved it.
official. You did. Is that no? You did another show before that, didn't you? Before Palmer Park.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
I did.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
what.
yeah, you've
that's
done a
what.
lot,
That's
yeah.
what inspired me to go again this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. It was that was the first.
Interesting experience. Isn't
It
it?
Yeah.
was, and it was neat because before that, I had always had a 1 to 3 pieces in other gallery exhibits with other artists, right?
Right.
So this was a neat.
It was your own display.
Yeah, and it was a
Yes.
neat
All
experience
about
for
you.
me to like listen to people, how they thought, what they felt, ask me questions, and I was like, oh,
And they
this
get to
is
meet you
Prepare.
personally. That's what we were
Right.
just talking about
Right.
that.
And
It
there's
gives
all
you,
this
it gives you
connection.
information to prepare for your next.
totally, and
Right.
it totally did because I was like, they see things I don't, right?
You're right.
Or they see things that I was like, oh, that's kind of funny because that's what happened in that time that I painted that, but
Right.
they're
Yeah,
seeing
right.
stuff
yeah,
in
they
it, right?
feel it.
Yeah.
That's so
and
cool.
sold pieces, which was fun.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then, what was the next part? Oh, so then the owner of the gallery, she's like, I didn't realize, like, I knew you had been painting. And she's like, I didn't realize, like, you're prolific. Like, you have enough. I'm like, oh, it's everywhere. And she's like, well, gosh, like, would you like that space for a month? And I'm like, are you
Heck
kidding?
yeah,
See?
sure.
And so it was terrifying because I thought, oh my gosh, do I have enough to put on these walls? And like, oh, look
It
at all
looks
together.
really good.
And as a newer artist, like honestly, I mean, this is really a fair story. Like all of my work lays on each other, leaned against the wall in the living room. Like I don't have it up. I have like 1 or 2 pieces up.
But you
That's
have them.
it. So when it was in that room,
Doesn't
it
it
was
look different?
magic.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Like
it
I
look-
was like, it was
Yeah.
good for me to see. Now
Yeah.
I was excited for everyone else to see it, but it was
Yes.
really validating to say, oh,
Yeah.
I've
really-
evolved.
That
I've
does
changed.
help
It's
an
a good
artist.
feeling,
It
isn't
is. It does. It helps an artist, especially when you have your creative space.
Yeah.
You
We were just
you
talking about that.
create a certain separate space to just to hang up a couple of those pieces.
Yeah.
That'd be an inspiration to you daily as you creating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You are always looking at pieces to see, I created that. It'll keep on inspiring you. Because yes, as you say, you
That's
had
so
your other
cool.
pieces laying there, because,
Yep.
but you know you created them.
Yep.
But you really can't get the inspiration by looking at them. But if you have
No.
just a couple pieces, just create a little wall just for your pieces.
Yeah.
I
And
love
hang
this
that.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was kind of magic being in that room because that first painting that I painted with Scott was in that room.
Was
So
it in
was
that room?
neat to see a year's time of
That is
all
so
the different
cool.
things that happen and how
That's the feeling.
I loved that painting, but I think in months later I found my voice and style. So you can kind of see this evolution around the
Yeah.
room of like,
Right.
See, you'll
oh,
see
she
it.
got her groove, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but the groove keeps grooving,
Right.
doesn't it?
And then
Don't you
sometimes,
find it?
and then sometimes when you have a certain painting hanging up and it's too, and then it's sometimes you feel like, you know what, it's still nothing. So it'll still inspire you, like you can take it down and add more.
Uh-huh.
But if
Isn't
you
that
keep
cool?
looking,
Yeah.
ain't
Yeah.
it? Yeah,
I've
ain't that
totally
feeling great?
done it, and I was like, ooh, this is fun, right?
See,
I
yeah.
love working with acrylic. It's like it dries fast, and then
Yeah.
if something doesn't work, you just paint
Yeah.
over
Paint
it.
over
Yeah.
it. I
But you can
know.
hang it up and then say,
I
okay,
have
I'll
no
get back
patience
to it
for
later.
oil. Mm-mm.
Oh man, yeah.
No.
They say it's a lot of
I'm a
money in
fly does
oil
not work with
paintings.
oil.
They say there's a lot of money in the oil paintings, but
Yeah.
I don't have that money.
That's the
I
same
don't
thing.
either.
Like,
I want to move on.
I want to. I'm creating great pieces with the acrylic,
So
aren't we?
too,
You
yeah.
are too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah,
And
it's
I love texture.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it sits up like
Mhm.
that heavy body acrylic. It sits up, and I think there's energy in the movement of it. Like most of my work, I throw from a distance. The
Oh,
paint.
do you?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
do.
And watch
yeah.
that splash.
I
Oh, yeah.
most of it. Like and I use lots of tools that
Yeah.
I find.
Well, look at
Yeah.
Scott's.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, you've been
Yeah.
to Scott's.
Yes,
place.
Yeah.
yes, I
Oh my
created
God,
with him
he's got
too.
so many cool
Yeah.
tools.
It does, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what inspired me. And so I go dig around at like all my friends' workshops and wood shops, and like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
know, I'm
It's
always
all about,
finding
it's about
things.
it's all about your energy
Yeah.
being drawn to your tools.
it is because
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like a
Mhm.
little
Oh,
kid.
I'm
I'm
Because
like,
always
that's
that's
looking.
fun.
that's what you're going to use to express.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
always looking at for textures.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. Oh,
Right.
you know, like, always,
And
always.
I think that, like, I think the texture, like, appeals to me because I worked with fiber for years.
Oh,
Like,
did
I'm
you?
a knitter, a spinner, a
Okay,
weaver,
okay.
Okay.
and I've been
Didn't
a
know
knitting
that.
teacher for 15 years.
That's
So,
Really?
yeah.
See?
Oh.
Yes.
Lots
of surprises.
Yeah.
All these things. So
But
we're going to
I
take a
love
really fast
feel,
break. Hold on.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to take a really fast
Okay.
break. You're watching Get Down and Dirty Talking Art at WJZZ. Cool Jazz TV. The coolest station in the world. You can watch us on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live. And you know, if anybody's watching and you guys want to call in to Erica, why don't you give her a call? Because we got lots to share here and stuff like that.
Can we get
And-
this on TikTok? On one.
Yeah, come on. I never, yeah, that, we should put it on TikTok. That would be so cool. So, if you guys want to maybe put up a picture, then we can talk. We're just kind of randomly letting it flow, whatever way it goes. So, go ahead and throw up a picture or two if you guys want. So, I didn't know you were a knitter and everything like
Yeah.
that.
You're
Yeah.
creative.
I
That
worked
takes
at-
a lot of patience.
It does. So I worked in the yarn industry for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Okay.
used to be a VP of a yarn company.
So you were still very creative.
very.
You were very. She
And
was.
I used to be a photographer, so I used to do shows with my photography. I know.
Oh
I'm-
my God! All right,
look
it's
at-
all coming out.
It's
all
coming out.
There she goes. Okay, you want to tell us about this? This looks like
I
something.
thought we were at a break. Oh,
Oh, we
I'm
did.
Sorry.
We did.
That was
we
it.
never
in,
leave.
in
We're
our
just
speaking.
still on.
As we were just introducing.
Cool.
But,
Okay, she's got an event coming up tomorrow, everybody, and
I
this
do.
is one of their. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so this is our 4th annual school supply giveaway, and last year I was able to crowdfund. So I don't have funding or anything, and I don't have employees other than my little guy, right? And so I end up crowdfunding, having this idea like, hey, I could do this, figure out a budget, and I'm like, if we all rally together, we can make it happen. And it just keeps happening. It's
That is
really
so cool.
cool.
You create it and it comes.
It
Yeah,
does. So
That's
I,
what I always
put it
say.
out.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
crowdfunded
And
6.
there's
Yeah.
all these supplies that
Wow.
she is able to get for these kids.
Yeah.
And she's putting in how many backpacks do you
So
have?
tomorrow at East Warren Farmers Market, so it's
If
kind
you
of.
guys want to put that up, I think
Yeah.
we have that,
Right.
that flyer or
So
something.
we will have 250 backpacks stuffed with school supplies.
And tell them what you were doing at
250.
11:30 last
There we
night.
go.
Well,
There.
yeah, isn't that cool that Elder put it
Isn't
on the
that cool?
market?
Yes,
That's
yeah,
where the address is, right
yeah.
there.
So yeah, address is there. Please coming out.
Yeah.
So last night, funding was trickling in. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can do colored pencils now. I really wanted to do colored pencils. I did them last year, but
Yeah.
I didn't have enough funding yet. And then there was a little bump in the funding yesterday, and I was like, that's it. I'm buying colored pencils. So I went to 5 different stores because, of course, it's school supply time and nobody had them. But I
Oh,
got
yeah.
them. I found them.
Yeah,
Everybody
She
got
was out
colored
running
pencils.
around till 11:30 last night, getting.
because Meyer
Positive
closes at
energy.
midnight.
I know.
I'm like, I'm making this happen.
That's
So
right.
it was really fun, and yeah, but it's not fun at that hour to
Yeah.
do a self scan with 250 color pencils.
Wow.
That's
Mm.
oh, you were standing there.
You have
Oh.
to. There's no aisles open, so I
That's
know
right.
that's the bad part about running around late night. Is like, yeah, overloading the system.
So you
yeah.
just can't punch in the numbers like. Okay.
No.
Yeah, you can't do.
Wow.
And I always ask, and they're like, okay.
Oh my God, that is so funny. How long were you in Myers ringing up?
I don't know.
That is so
But yeah,
funny.
but I was like, I'm gonna make it happen. So yeah,
you did.
we did make it happen, and funding's still coming in because a lot of this stuff the last week or so I ended up fronting the money for because I knew like a lot of people are like, I got you, and I knew it would trickle in, but
Right.
I'm like, I have to buy it right in order to make it happen. So
Right,
I can't
right,
wait
right.
till today and then try to find it all.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I could procure little bits at a time, and so when that bump in funding came, and they also get PPE, so they get KN95 masks, chapsticks, hand
Oh, that is so
sanitizer.
cool.
Yeah, what else did we get? Sorry, I'm like thinking quick, you
So
know.
you
And then I
got
put in my
everything they need.
backpacks, like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew I started a joy journey.
No,
do
no. What is
talks on-
joy?
So in January, like, so we had a hard time last year. Like, we were in a fire.
When you
we
were in a
were
fire, she had a
Mm.
fire at her
yeah,
place.
so we were displaced for 4 months, and I always try to find joy everywhere in little
Yeah.
bits, or you know,
Yeah.
spontaneous and all that. So
That's great.
sometimes in hard times you need that reminder, right?
Yeah,
Or
Or
sometimes you
it's
need
just
that.
the
Yes.
Yeah.
doldrum of the week after week. It's like you forget to do things for yourself
Yes.
or shake up your day, right?
Uh-huh.
So I was asked to be on this speaker panel in January, and they're like, we want you to be our joy agent. And I'm like, that's an interesting title. And they're like, well, that's how we see you. Like, you're always like spreading joy in the community, or
That is so
telling
cool.
people like, hey, did you know it's free every Friday? You need to go. Or you're like railing the community around you to be like, I got this idea, like, can we fund this? And so they're like, that's how we see you. And I'm like, okay. So I wasn't sure what to talk about, and then I thought, well, I could talk about a few things that we've done to
Right.
find joy. And before I knew it, I had 52 ideas. So I thought, oh, one a week, 52 weeks, right?
That is so cool.
And so yeah, I brought
So
you guys.
how
back.
would they?
Awesome.
Thank you. How
Yes.
would you find these? Are these on your Facebook page?
Yeah, they're everywhere, and
Okay,
so,
okay.
but yeah, so, and I hate bucket lists, because I think they set you up for failure, because they're numbered, and if you don't do them all, it's like,
Oh, I
oh,
do too.
bummer,
Right.
right? So
Right.
this is a journey. Like
I
you
like
can
this.
start at the end and go
You
around.
can even
You
bounce
do
all the way
5
through
in one
there.
day. You know, like some of them are really simple
That is
tasks.
so cool.
And they're just
52
50
ways to find more joy in 2022.
I know.
That is like so incredible.
It's been really fun.
Sparking ideas in every point.
It
Wow.
is, and it's been incorporated like Wayne State has it in their building. Cranbrook Institute of Science has it at the admission desk. Lots of therapists have incorporated this into their therapy for their patients.
I love this.
I worked with senior centers, and they and assisted living and stuff. They incorporated it into their day, and they could earn joy bucks.
This is so
like
Yeah.
it was
tremendous.
just really cool.
We're gonna have to share this. Can we share this on our
Absolutely,
Facebook? This is
I
so
can send
cool.
you the file.
Yeah,
I love them. What is it? The number one say, "Leave something better than you found it."
that's very cool. And I just
Right?
happened to look down,
Right?
and it says "Jump hard in puddles." I like that. We're gonna all go outside and find a puddle
Right.
and jump.
And
Just
one of
jump,
them, this
yeah.
one, create and share art. And that's
Yeah,
what I love
showing-
about all of you and like all the artists I've met is a constant like
It's a community.
connection
It's a
and a community,
family.
right?
Sharing
We're
that
not like all
wonderful
doing our
energy.
thing. It's
No.
like, hey, you want to see this?
Yeah.
I got this.
Hey,
And,
do you know
"Ooh,
about
I
this?
like
Do you
your
know this?"
piece. It reminds me of this. And
Right.
like we just get inspired by each other. I
And
absolutely
that's what
love
it
it.
is about. Is
Always
the,
sharing
I call
ideas.
it community.
Yeah.
I says
yeah.
you build it and they will come.
Yeah.
And I just said it's a community. It's
Yeah.
like, it's not just one artist. It's a community of artists
Yeah.
that come together, and it's like we all
Yeah.
share and
Yeah.
help each other and
Yeah.
support each other and stuff like that. This is so cool.
Thanks.
This is
It's
so
just really
cool.
tangible, and I love through the months. Like people have sent it to me, and it's on their fridge or in their office on their bulletin board. Some people have sent it to me all filled up, and they started it over, and I'm like, oh my god, it just brought me so much joy.
That is your unique idea.
Which one of them? Which one do you
Say,
like?
listen to music in another language.
Oh my gosh,
Oh my
this
goodness.
we got in a
Unique.
kick. So we did some of these were like pandemic pop up
Right,
things, right?
right,
Where you're
right.
like,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you
We
got
need
it.
something
How
new
old
to
is
do.
your son?
He turned 10 on Monday.
Oh, that's
so
Oh,
he's
right.
10
great.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
got a
Happy
darling
birthday.
boy.
What's his
Happy
name?
birthday.
Patrick.
Padre.
Did you
Padre.
meet him? Were you at Monday's meeting?
Yes,
That's
yes.
him.
Okay.
We
Wow.
got up on the
So-
mic.
Yeah,
Yo.
well, he's large for you. Say 10.
Yeah, he
He
is
is a very,
tall.
very,
He's
very
tall.
cool kid.
Yeah,
He's
he's
a
handsome
cool
little
guy.
man. Yeah.
So we were like, messing around, and I think we had watched a movie with a song in it, and he was like, "What is that?" Because it wasn't familiar, taking Spanish in school,
Right.
and I'm like, "Oh, it's French," and he was like, "Man, I love it," and it was French jazz. He got hooked on French jazz for the longest time, and it was so cute because it just had this different movement to it,
Mhm.
right?
The beat,
And
right.
then-
Jazz, I've never heard of it.
Oh my gosh, just do
You're gonna
it.
have to go
and,
check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and all the
I can
lyrics
just
are
imagine when they're dancing to it, part of certain
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
And I
dance,
think because of not knowing the words and like the beautiful rhythm of that
Yeah.
love
Oh, that's so
language,
cool.
like he could just
Yeah.
focus on the music, and
Mhm.
it was because you're just not really knowing what to talk about, but you can imagine. So,
Right.
Yeah, he went in a long kick of that, and so yeah, it was kind of I put that on there because I
This
was like,
is very,
this
very
is fun.
powerful.
Great.
and go to an art opening. So we did. I mean, I
Oh,
never
always.
thought I'd be an artist, but we did these for years because they're
Right.
really fun. Like you get to meet the person that creates
Oh,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Talk
what we
to
were
them.
talking about.
Yeah.
Energy in the room, and honestly, on the frugal side of things, it is a really fun and cheap date night.
It
Okay.
is.
They usually have a little snack out.
Yeah,
You can kind
you
of
can go
hang
get it,
out.
yeah.
There's sometimes music, and you're like, I mean, if you don't have much money, that's a
It's a
really
great
fun
way to
Yeah.
do
date
it.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll invite.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is so cool. That is so cool. I love this.
So in
Yeah.
your
Listen to a TED Talk. Who was in TED Talk last year?
I'm one of the producers of TEDx Detroit.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
it was really
last
cool.
year and then this year too.
Yeah,
So,
it was
yep.
very, very cool. TED
Thanks,
Talk
yeah.
is a really, explain TED Talk to people. A lot of people don't understand TED Talk.
Yeah, so TED is technology, entertainment, and design. And
Okay.
so a lot of people have watched TED Talks before, but in lots of cities around the globe, there is like the TEDx. So the X
Right.
is independent of TED. So we
Right.
still follow all
Okay.
the rules of them and the rhythm, but we, it has a local feel, if that
Okay.
makes sense. Like
Yeah.
the big TED talks and conferences are people from all over the globe on those
Right,
stages.
right,
This
right,
is like you have
right.
to be.
Have you been to one?
The TEDx.
Or
Yeah.
TED
I think
Talk? or-
is that no. I think that's when we had the
That's right,
exhibit.
we were
yeah,
at the- we were
I was
there.
able to have some art in one of the little
Yeah,
walls.
we were there last year.
Yeah,
yeah, that's
And it
right.
was great, right?
Yes, it
Right.
was.
So, a lot of people don't know because they watch like a single TED talk on YouTube and
Mhm,
they're like, that was cool. That these are recorded on the conference days. So TEDx Detroit, we have, 12 to 15 speakers in
That was,
session
I
one.
wanted to listen to them all, but we were busy watching
Yeah,
on here,
well,
so, all
you
right.
can go on YouTube and watch it.
Yeah,
But you have 12 so your ticket gets you like the morning session, 12 to 15
Right.
speakers
Right.
at like, 3 to 7 minutes apiece, all on those different topics because it's supposed to hit your brain at all different aspects.
It
Because
does.
we all go to conferences and shows and
right,
things, and
right.
it's that one theme, right?
Right.
And you're just kind of tune out,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
if it's always like coming out with music and then this and maybe a juggler and maybe different topics.
It's inspiring.
It's
You walk out of
inspiring
there
and
and you
you're just-
feel so good.
You
Yeah.
feel good, the energy's cool, and then in the middle of the day, you have a break for lunch,
Mhm.
labs, and marketplace. So
Mhm.
labs can be anywhere from VR goggles to maybe someone making something out of recycled material, like all
Right.
different things, right? And then there's a marketplace of
And
local
we were in the
vendors.
marketplace.
You were.
We were in the marketplace. It was
And then
cool.
you go back
That
for
was
the
large,
second
too.
session with, another 12 to 15 speakers. So that
Right.
one ticket gets you that whole
And it's so
magic
worth
day.
the
Right,
day.
yeah.
Of,
Yeah.
when
That was
is
worth
what is this?
October 26th at Music Hall.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
right now, early bird tickets, so early bird pricing, they will go up.
Okay. Did you
And
guys
we-
hear that?
Yep, they
Yeah,
will go
yeah,
up.
yeah.
And it's only about, I want to say 1,800 seats, so
Mhm.
it's a nice intimate venue, so you know it's going to sell out. So
Oh my
it's like,
God.
get
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
while it's hot,
Everyone
right?
That's
be
very
at the
cool. Are you gonna have
music
the
hall.
vendors
Get
there?
your deal, yep.
Okay, we'll
it's
be there.
All the things,
We'll
yeah.
be there. We'll be
So
there.
how you feel? You in the Torch of Wisdom too, aren't you? That Torch of Wisdom
Yeah.
action.
Well, I don't know, right? Because
dropped
it's
off your
jury.
art,
I
didn't
you?
dropped off my stuff.
I dropped off.
But
Did
so
you
I
drop
don't know
off?
what
Saw
that
that?
means.
Yeah.
I don't either. Isn't
We're all
right? We
waiting.
all dropped off our stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I dropped off pieces. I dropped
Yeah.
off two.
They
So
say you have that energy and inspiration to jump
Right.
into all the submissions of art.
yeah,
Right.
I
You
like
say,
see
"Oh,
them. I'm like, all right.
There's
I
another
just-
art
yeah.
show on the beginning.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
have no fear with that. Like,
See?
it
That's-
was cool.
that's
I
what's
had
so
really
cool.
good mentors that are like, just try
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah,
Like,
Right.
you
I
are
mean, that's
doing
what
it.
it's-
Right.
nothing.
You got to
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's right.
Everyone,
And it's
all
not
collectors
up my
want
living room
to.
floor, right?
That's
Like,
right.
the world's not going to see it if it's sitting around
That's
my
right.
right.
That's,
That's
hanging up on that
right.
wall.
That's
Because you'd
right.
be
She's gonna be
surprised.
hanging it outside of her building. Like,
Yeah.
like, hey guys, look what I got here.
I'm always dragging stuff around there, and everyone's like, "What is she doing?" She's either got a wagon full of school supplies or canvases. Like, the questions I get sometimes.
But
like,
know
what
this.
do you do?
But notice, collectors are always looking for new expressions in art. So your art is, you see, it catches everybody else's eye. It catches another
Had
artist's
some
eye.
good, you had some
you know.
good.
So
Yeah.
just
Thank you.
be inspired to know that collectors looking for new expressions.
Mhm.
So your art
Okay.
is there.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool.
you.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
so don't never be hesitate to those submissions. Go ahead. You
Right.
got it.
That's right.
That's great
Yeah.
advice.
You know,
Right.
just get yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get yourself out there. We're gonna take a real fast break again. I know
Okay.
time goes so fast.
It
It's
does.
like already. It's 8:30, and it's like
It is.
what?
Wow. Hey, I'm just having
Yeah,
fun.
I know. We always have fun. You're watching Get Down and Dirty Talking Art on WJZZ Cool Jazz TV, and we have Eric and we have the Woo. And I actually said his name right. He
Yeah.
laughs at me because I smeared his name. Yeah, because I'm phonetic, kind of a thing. So watch us on, and if anybody call, come on. Hey, folks, get on the damn phone and call us. What the hell?
Debbie said.
I said,
Yeah,
call us.
call in
Call us.
and
And
ask
if you guys
Erica
are
some
watching this later,
questions.
please like, share, and subscribe. We'll put all the information on the Facebook page and stuff like that. And it's so cool. She's got so much going on. Tomorrow is your
School supply
School
giveaway.
supply
Yep.
giveaway,
5 to
and-
8
and-
East Warren Farmers Market.
Eastbourne Farmers Market.
And it's
right
a Facebook
on,
event. Like you can find it.
Yeah, and
so.
it's right on. It's on Woodward
Warren.
in Warren, right there in the corner, right?
No,
No, wait a minute.
No.
Where's that at?
Warren and so it's like East English Village area.
Oh,
Like
over there, that
east-
way.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm
Like,
thinking it
you
was.
so it's not far from 94 and Harper. and
Oh,
like
okay,
just
over that way.
off a 3 Mile road and like kind of
Okay,
go in there.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's on Warren and Woodward because there's one there.
No.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
where you're at. Okay.
Yeah. That one is the Wayne State Farmers Market.
Yes,
is that
it
the
is.
one you're thinking
That's
of?
what I'm
Yep.
thinking of. That's why I
Yep.
got mixed up because Warren
Yeah.
is Warren, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tomorrow at what time did you start?
5 to 8.
5 to 8. If you guys need cool school supplies for your kiddos.
Yep, the first 250 kids. Get
Yep,
a
and
free
she's
backpack.
got it packed. And she was out last night shopping for
I
pencils.
was.
11:30.
Yeah.
So
Don't let her
tell
work
us
go in
about-
vain.
Yeah. So do you have any more? You always have some great questions.
Oh yeah,
Well,
so we got notes over here.
I wanted to see some of her her paintings. Did you have
I don't
any
know if we brought
pictures?
any on
Did
there.
you
I didn't.
any pictures of her paintings?
I didn't put any out there. I am so sorry.
Oh, that's all
It's
right.
like, yeah,
That's all right.
we'll put it out on our Facebook.
Okay.
You don't have
Okay.
to say because I couldn't. I was hurrying
Yeah,
up and trying to get.
I
I
understand.
wanted to look at
well,
one.
you probably
to,
had him from being at my show.
Huh?
You probably had him from being at my show.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't even think about it. Hey, I've been
Or
working.
at your other show
Yeah,
that you were
that's-
curating.
Hey, I'm getting ready for Art Seeds and Beats next week. And so
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
got a
like,
lot
I got
ahead.
that
You got a lot
Kilmer
ahead.
and stuff like
I
that.
can't imagine. You do so many shows. I mean,
Yes.
it's exhausting.
She was just telling me she got to
Like,
do 2 shows with Saturday
I'm
and
doing
then the
Saturday
Yeah.
show. and
Every
then I'm
week,
doing-
it's like she has another announcement. I'm like, I don't know how you
That's
do
why
it.
that's why they know that.
And when we were standing in those grass all day, I was like, I don't know how she does this.
Yeah, I don't know. I just keep going.
Week after
I
week.
just keep
right?
going. Then I'm going to be at the Hunt Street Police Department. They're having an event there,
I
so I
love
love
that
that building.
building.
Isn't
Oh
that an amazing
my
building?
God, that
Love
is
that
my
building.
favorite building in the city. I
Yeah.
have the badge from that, and I was
Oh, so
there.
you already have your piece of art of that?
One of my badges is hanging in Hunt Street, guys.
Okay.
I donated
okay.
the badge right
That's
there.
awesome.
Oh, that's
And
beautiful.
when they are looking for artists, I'll send you guys the information.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's an
Yeah,
event.
yeah.
It's an
I would
event, and
love
there's
that.
like, and I just thought it's such a cool place, and I'd
Mhm.
send them my photos, and they go, okay, you can come. I'm like, cool.
Great.
You know,
Great.
so it's from 6 to 9. It's music, jazz, and whatever.
Love it.
My story about Hunt Street, real fast, is a police officer told me, and he thought it was told my husband it was on Hubbard. I said, there's no Hubbard in your trip. Well, we're riding up and down Woodward till we find. He pulls up. And is this the building you're looking for? I got jumped out of the car. I was hysterical.
Huh.
Because just the facade, the architecture,
Gorgeous.
the whole
Yeah.
building is just so cool. And I always take people there. I say, what's my favorite building? All of a sudden the door opens. I look at these guys. I said, what are you doing in there? And they asked me what I was doing. And I was explaining to them about the police badge. And it was built in 1897. It was part of Black Bottom, and it closed during the riots and stuff
Mhm,
like that.
mhm.
It's an amazing. But now they turned it into a really neat. You can rent an office in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and,
okay.
and co-working too.
It's a co-working space,
Yeah.
and they've done
Okay.
so much for the co-workers and the people. and
I've done
stuff
a
like-
couple events with it.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I've
it's
been to that. got
Wonderful,
posted on it.
wonderful,
It's a
wonderful
cool
space,
spot.
and they're just so cool.
Mhm.
So yeah, we happen to share the same love for the same building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just so
I love
unique.
it.
It's just so unique. So tell us about your son.
Yeah.
He is such a
You
cool
say he's a
little
character.
guy. He
He's
is
a
so-
character in the book.
He is.
He
so
is.
He's in this global book series about
Maybe we
young.
can just kind of hold up. We don't have the we can kind
There
of.
we go. Is that good?
Yeah, we'll put it on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. So he's a character in this book of Global Changemaker. So that's a series of 7 books, and this author reached out to us about a year and a half ago and said, "Hey,
proud.
I know, like, I followed your journey, but I noticed that, like, Padraig often, like, is part of what you do or the reason you do what you do or how you do it." I said, "Oh my gosh, yes, like, most of the time we sit down and, like, decide what to do, or we listen to the community and say where we can fill a need." And he is the one that really grew that food giveaway that we did because
Do you really?
Oh,
absolutely, because the first week that we did it, we had the 25 boxes,
Mhm.
and I was like, what if no one comes, right? It's fresh food, like, right? Like,
Yeah.
what if no one comes? And they came, we ran out in like 20 minutes.
mhm.
And I was like devastated because there's still a line, but so he says, well, you know, can we get more food? And I was like, well, no. And I kept explaining to him, like, all the organizations sign up, and you know, it's a spreadsheet, and like some people get 200, some people get 25, you know, whatever they can
Right,
serve.
right.
And I said, it's allotted. Like, there is, you know, no more food. And I kept saying, you don't understand. He kept asking. He's like, well, just call them, just ask. And I was like, you don't understand. So I kept doing it to him, and then it stopped myself. And I said, I'm constantly telling him he has his own voice, right?
So
You
what
know,
did he do?
So he said,
Yeah, we're gonna see-
please call. And I said, I will.
That's
You're
the
right.
book.
I'm listening to you. I will call. And so I call, and they're like, oh my gosh, one of the organizations couldn't show up, flat tire or whatever. We have extra. And he was like, I knew it.
See, oh wow,
So
see
we,
that energy.
but then here we are in Hamtramck, and I've got to go all the way over to TCF, which is now Huntington
Right,
Place,
right.
to load up, then come back. That's at least 45 minutes.
Yes.
So I'm like, well, what are you going to do? He goes, tell the people. He's like, if they want to stay,
You're a
they'll
little
stay.
manager,
Right?
right?
And I was like, you're right. Like, why am I, like, you know,
love it.
dismissing your thoughts on this process, right? Like, let's try what you, so we went to everyone in line, and so many of them didn't speak English, and so we
Right.
got
Right.
probably like 5 or 6 people into the line, and the guy says back like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh my gosh, do you speak Arabic? He's like, I do. I said, well, I tried really hard to explain like the situation that we're out, but we can get more. And he said, oh, that would be great. Like, I could explain. I said, you know what? If you explain to everyone in line, I can get out of here and go get the food faster.
Right.
And he's like, I got you. Like, we'll figure this out.
Mhm,
And I said,
mhm.
if they choose to stay, they can. If they come back, they might lose their spot. But you guys figure it out.
I
You all
love it.
manage yourselves. And he's like, I love this. So, go back. Load up. I mean, it is like in the car windows. It is everywhere. He's holding it like it's so unsafe, right? He's like holding it, and he's like, I got it. I got it. We
Oh
get
my
there. And they, in his little arms on there, he's like, they waited, you know, and so there they were in
So
line.
excited.
So
Oh my God, he was
excited.
so proud and so excited because he just wanted to serve, like he
Can you
just
imagine
wanted to do
when
it.
this young man grows up?
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my
So the
God.
story like gives me goosebumps every time. So we have all these boxes and all these cars, right? And the last box went into the last car. We had just enough for everyone.
I see it was.
And I
It
looked
was
at
all
him,
meant
he
to
was like,
be. See?
and then so
He went and said,
that
"See
was
mine?"
the pivotal moment. So when I called the organization that would distribute it, I said, can I double it for next week? And they're like, wow, that's big. And I said, well, I apparently can get the people here.
Right.
And then each
Wow.
week I doubled it until I like maxed out at 250. And then I worked with other organizations because, you know, I kept getting the word out, or people kept hearing about, like, I hear you can move some food, like, we happen to have milk, or we happen to have extra this.
That is so
I was
cool.
rescuing from Pingree Farms, like, I don't know if you know about their Victory
No,
Garden,
no.
that's at 775. And so they had like tons of tomatoes and peppers, and I'm like, well, yeah, I can move
That
those.
is
So
so
we kept
cool.
adding it to it.
Mm.
And we had
Growing and
the ACLU
growing.
come out and help people register to vote in 5 languages. We did pop up little free
That is
libraries.
So
We
cool.
did. We had the census come out. You know,
Mhm,
because I'm like,
mhm.
I already have people here. I have a community, but what else can we do to, you know,
So you
create
really
this
are
community?
community or.
Yeah.
I love
Yes.
it.
Yes.
This book
Yes.
is
He's so
Oh,
excited.
yeah.
really cool.
So yeah, so
what I like
he-
is you have a little boy because I'm very partial to people in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
That is so that is so
It is
powerful.
cool. Yeah.
That is so
So
powerful.
he's in book 2.
He
and
is
then-
a little book star. I just
There he
love
is.
it. Oh my God.
Uh,
There, look at, there he is. There he is.
Yeah.
There
Oh my
he is.
God, there he is in Scott McDuffie's
Wait,
studio.
hold on. They're not pulling it up yet. So, but
Oh, is that
so,
cute?
That is so cool. They'll put it up in a minute. They're pulling the pictures. Oh, thank you. They
That's
got
when
our
you were at the
pictures.
Whitney.
They're so good.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, there we have art,
Yeah.
right?
So
Like,
So
I'm
he-
so public, I'm like, it's all there, right?
I
You're just
know.
stealing
I
from
was
my
like,
pages.
yeah, there it is. Just
But
take
yeah,
it.
so there's a real picture. So this tells the story of what we did and the produce and how that worked.
Now, where do you guys sell your book at?
So we do, you can buy it through me, and we do a lot of pop-ups. So he has a book signing at the event tomorrow. So he has his
Okay.
own little booth,
Oh, that's a great experience
and he's
for him.
super
He
excited.
should come to your shows with you. And
That
have
is
a
Well,
book
great
fair.
it does,
experience
but like
for him.
sometimes it like, you know what I mean, it doesn't quite fit.
Yeah.
But we've also done 2 book signings at Sidetrack Bookshop in Royal Oak. So downtown Royal Oak, we've done there.
That,
We popped
yes.
up at a
If
sustainable
you guys want to
clothing
put some
swap.
photos up there, go ahead. I see
yeah,
you guys
'cause that would
pulling
be
some
great. The
photos.
collectors would love to
Yeah.
see the artist in the
I know we
book
have the glare.
or the character of the
There we
book.
go. But there's little man.
That is
So yeah, it
cute.
was. It's really been an awesome experience,
And
and
how
the
many-
whole book is full of just kids, you know, doing big things,
Mhm.
and it's
To
so
get
What
some
inspiring.
kids like to do.
That is
Yeah,
so
I have them in the
cool.
car, so you let me know. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is
Yeah.
so cool. That is so,
So,
cool.
you know, lots going on.
That
And I
is-
was featured in Metro Parent last month, so.
You were featured in Metro Parent?
Wow.
Get out of
Look
Dodge.
at that. She
And she
got,
didn't even
see
count
that,
this
see
thing
that,
up.
she got, it's so
Wait
many
a minute.
claps for her.
Wait a minute.
Oh, wow.
This is
That
big.
is so
Well,
beautiful.
they reached out to me and they wanted to know, like, what my mantra was for parenthood. And I was like,
Yes.
well, spontaneous adventures and acts of kindness are key to finding joy in your life. I
Oh,
will say
wow.
that
Yes.
forever.
That is
I
beautiful.
love
So
They
look at
made
this.
it as
That's
a
She's a Metro
logo
Parent, everybody.
So-
I'm
on the
sorry,
whole
I didn't
page.
know. I didn't get to talk to you because you was too busy getting food.
That's all
And
right.
everything.
But isn't this cool? So the
Oh my
artist like
God.
illustrated my quote, and I'm
She
like,
did
oh, it's a
too.
keyhole. And then if you scan this, it's a 10-minute video interview with me.
Oh,
Yep.
that's
I'm
wonderful.
so
That's
impressed.
wonderful.
Yeah.
She's got all these secrets that we didn't know about.
Well, because we just
They're gonna
talk
start.
art.
Yeah.
They're
We
gonna
meet
start
up,
flying
we
you
talk
to
art.
other.
That's it,
Yeah.
right?
They're gonna start flying you to other states to give you ideas and yeah.
That is so.
Look for that
cool.
soon.
Well, I think all of us are multifaceted, right? But if you only know people in this certain
In this certain
circle, in
section,
that
right.
type of your life,
Right,
you know, I have
right,
like
right.
business friends and they don't
Right.
know about the art, you know what I mean,
Wow.
or vice versa.
Yeah, if
so.
you guys want to put whatever up, just throw a
We're
picture
at
up
school.
there.
I'm just Patrick's mom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No.
You know.
Who
And how
knows?
old is Padre?
10.
10.
He's
So
10. He's big.
Yeah,
10 years
turned
old.
10
All right, there we
2
go.
days
Tell
ago.
us about this.
So
And that is beautiful.
That is gorgeous.
I was in
Oh my God.
Let's Zoom. So that is my self-portrait.
Yes. Okay.
So Scott McDuffie again.
yes.
Okay.
Wonderful Scott.
After painting one in June, it was July. Must have been July. It was just a couple weeks after. It was like, hey, I have an idea. And he slides me this 12 by 12 canvas. And he was like, I think he called Amanda. I can't remember who he called. And I'd never met Amanda.
Right. And
I-
she's so
she's-
awesome.
She's so
and
wonderful.
She's been one of my biggest mentors since
She's
this,
wonderful.
this moment. So he said, I have this person and they're starting this Let's Zoom, which you were a part of too.
Yeah, talk to them. Tell us about that Zoom.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Let's Zoom was basically a bunch of artists and creative people in the community that did a self-portrait of themselves
sitting in-
during the pandemic.
Mhm,
Yep.
I didn't make that.
And so he was like, this is, you're a emerging artist. I mean, you're just starting. But he
Yes.
was like, you are part of the community. Like, that's what you do is community work. He's like, so he called me and he's like, I think she should be in this. I think she can do something. So
And she's.
I'm like, abstract. I can't draw anything. I'm like, how in the world am I going to do a self-portrait? So I was terrified. So he's like, well, just sit. So I'm sitting on the other side of the studio. He's like, well, I'm going to work on mine. So he's working on his, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, what
You're
in
like,
the world?
what? You feel so intimidated.
I don't even
Because
know
I
how to
can't
paint
draw.
eyeballs or a nose. I'm
Yeah.
like, what am I going to do? And he's like, well, it could be abstract. I'm like, I understand that, but it's extremely intimidating. And then I sat there and I was like, I'm not known for my face. I'm known for what I do.
Right.
I'm known for
Expression.
my hands.
Oh,
Oh, I love that.
oh, okay. So
That's
that's what I was gonna explain that piece.
So-
I love
so
it.
those
Mine-
are her hands.
so
you guys want
mine-
to put that back up
Yeah,
there real
so
fast,
my
guys.
self-portrait is my hands.
Look at those are her hands. That is so cool.
And
You express
also,
from your hand.
I painted it with my hands.
Oh, I
Okay,
love that.
So
okay.
he was like looking at me like, and you say you're not an artist? He's
Yeah.
like, you got this
I
wild
love the color.
idea.
And I
And you're
love
like,
that
and
red.
I'm ditching the brushes, right? So what I did is I just put my hands in the paint, and I
just-
didn't do it flat. I liked it like this, like I was
Mhm.
kneading.
Like you put her hands
so I
like
just
this.
layered, let it dry, layered.
Like he
and
was
first I painted
playing
the
the
whole
piano.
canvas black, because for
Okay.
me, like, that was a tough time. I lost other friends at COVID. Like, it was
Yes.
a tough couple
It
of
was a
years. So that
hard-
was
yeah.
first. I was like all black, right? I was like,
So
oh,
that
I'm painting
black
these
to me
hands.
is like the dark emotion.
It is, and
Yeah.
I love black.
Yeah.
I wear black. I
An
love
expression
black.
of
And-
sadness.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's deep,
is
right?
so
then I,
cool.
painted that canvas, and then I thought, all right, I love green.
Uh-huh.
Frugal Flies green. So I'm like, I'll just grab this green. And so I just, got in
And-
got in there, and then I let
Love
it
it.
dry. Add. So it's
Yeah.
very textured.
I
It's
can
very
see
textured.
that.
love
You can
that.
see the contrast. You
And
know.
then I added a little on the edges, and
Mhm.
then the little orange dots, like they looks where my knuckles would be.
Mhm.
Those
Oh,
are
okay.
those are Patrick's fingertips, because
That's
the whole
so-
time that I do stuff, he's right there,
He's right
like
there with
getting
you.
in
So
there,
your
right?
mom is- that is so cool.
And then I just add a little bit of orange, like for some depth. I just followed
Right.
it. So off it goes to Irwin House. So
Yeah.
that's the first one that I was in for Let's Zoom. So we have
Okay.
all these artists, and they're having the opening,
yeah.
and they're all fantastic, right? They're just all so different, and like you
It's-
can
you look at
talk
him
about
and you
energy.
feel the
Be in that room
energy.
is
Mhm.
awesome.
Wow, yeah.
So there's this woman roaming around it, like after we've all been there an hour and a half taking pictures, talking to everybody, and she's like, "Does anyone know who painted the lettuce?"
And you're going, what?
This goes on and on for a while, and she's just kind of frustrated because no one's answering her. And then I turned around and I was like, "The black and green one?" And she's like, "Yeah, the lettuce. Like,
The
someone
lettuce.
answer me, right?" And I was like, "That's mine." I said, "It's my hands." And she was like, "Oh, interesting." She's like, "I love the color. I can't stop staring at it."
Yes.
And she's like,
Especially
"Can you
that
tell
red
me
popping in the
why
corner.
you painted your hands or what this is?" And I said, "Well, we had to paint a self-portrait of ourselves, like, in the pandemic." And I was like, I just felt, I just did a lot of hands-on work. I was in the community. I worked in community gardens. I either was picking food or pulling weeds, and then we did this produce, and then we did this, and then we did this. And then she looks at me and she goes, "Do you realize you subconsciously painted what you did?"
Yes.
That is
See?
so
And it was
The expression,
earth-shattering for me,
awesome.
because
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I didn't. I just see green hands, right?
Yeah.
And then she looks and she goes, "But look at it, the
Mhm.
texture." She goes, "It literally looks like lettuce. The little orange, like orangish red dots look like tomatoes,
Mhm.
and the corner is like a big textured flower."
Wow.
And I was like,
Beautiful.
So it's kind of cool, right? And that was kind of the start of Amanda, like thinking that, but not telling me that. She didn't tell me that till later. And Marta was blown away
Right.
because she's like, welcome to your new career. And I
That's
will
right.
never forget her saying that to me. And I'm like, this is my second painting. Like, what is happening?
Yeah,
Where's
you're
the
expressing.
universe is wild,
Yes.
right?
Oh.
Yes.
And then she was the one that would text me, like, are you painting? And I'm like, no. And she's like, get painting.
Yes.
Get something on canvas every day. I don't care. You know, you need to do it. Like, you have this innate ability that you've never tapped.
Yes.
You guys
Yes.
want to
Let
put any
it
more
go. Let
pictures
it
up?
out.
If you guys have any more
Oh,
pictures,
thanks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And go for some
Here we
big.
go. Look at this. Now
some
tell
big-
them this.
So that was my
These
first
some-
painting on the
the
left.
li- okay,
and that
that's
was
a large one.
Padraig's.
Oh.
Right?
Yes. What size
It-
are those? Now that's like 30.
His
Yeah.
is enormous.
That's
he
great.
went and he was at the store and
See.
he was like, I'm painting that one. And it was
See.
the biggest one they had. And like he carried it out and it was like,
Oh,
this
you're so
chin.
cute.
And he's going up to the
Yeah.
register and he's like, this
So
is what
Yeah.
I paid.
Yeah.
And he
That's
got
the
there.
Scott McDuffie pose.
And it's in his studio.
And that's in his studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, do this, and he's like, okay. And that hangs above his bed, and it is so striking,
that is
and there's tons
beautiful.
of texture, and I absolutely love it.
It looks
Love
lovely.
It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
I
It
love
looks
it.
so
You
lovely.
guys want to throw another picture up there if we got any more? Thank you for getting some pictures.
That's a Jonathan Harris.
That's a
opening.
Jonathan Harris
I love his
opening.
work.
I do
That's
too.
that's one. That's one of
Was
your
that it?
on the
Oh.
list. It said go to an art
Yeah,
opening.
That's
I'm
an art
obsessed with
opening.
them. I love going.
Oh, I
And
do
Patrick
too.
loves too because it's like I think it's a real cool thing to do with kids. I think a lot of people see it as like an adult thing, and you have
No,
like
it's
hors
not. I
d'oeuvres
think
and
it's
stuff.
great for kids because
Yeah,
they
it
get
is.
experience.
Yeah,
It's
and see,
exposure.
yes,
Because,
yes.
You know, you don't know if they might want to play an instrument.
That's
You
right.
don't know if they're like, oh, you might even be an artist.
Yes.
But they're really drawn to
Yes.
figurative or like
Right.
That's how you
Right.
pottery,
find.
you know, and
yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I had no
Yes.
idea, but they see it and they're like inspired,
Inspired.
right?
Right.
Yes.
I figure
That's
they
the whole
give them all
idea.
that experiences.
Me too. I
Just
say
let 'em
expose
try
it
it
all.
out. Expose it
Patrick's
all.
obsessed with opera, not my jam, but I'm like, more power to you because he went to something and then he like asked and asked and asked, so we went to an opera.
Yeah,
And,
and as you say, he likes
and
the
then he
different.
was 5. He sat through 4-hour opera and just right like this,
Wow.
just mesmerized. It was so
Wow.
sweet, but
That's
it was
so
like
sweet.
I think he's really he's empathetic and he has like this deep soul and he feels people, and so for him music and art is just a whole nother extension, and like he's just like he gets in it, you know.
That's
It's
great.
cool.
That's
We
great.
get any more pictures, guys? And if you guys want to call in, hey, anybody out there? Hello.
That was Palmer
Oh,
Park.
that's
yeah.
Palmer Park.
So that
Look
was
at that.
the
Her
show.
very, very, very first official art show.
I think yeah, it was.
That was
It
your
was.
very
Because
first.
everything else was like an exhibit, right?
Yeah.
So
this
look
is-
at that whole wall of my stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's-
that triptych on the left is called Joy. So
Oh.
I painted that in January.
Okay.
Hence Joy. This was after Joy Journey.
I love
Okay.
it.
And I just painted the letters Joy all over it and then buried it and then painted them again and buried
That's
it.
so
Okay.
And
cool.
there's some of them that are really textured, so if you get close to it, you'll find a little O and a Y that you can actually feel.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
But that
was
was
her
kind of
first
the spark.
official show.
Yeah, the spark for this year,
That's
and then
so-
the little ones are called Joy Journey, and it was just, and all those are gone. The yellow one's gone, the red one's are gone.
Yeah,
Oh, there's
it's-
one red
That's
one left. The
beautiful.
blue one sold.
Cool.
Like,
See?
So
Wow.
what's next? What are you planning on doing next? Do you have any? You
I'm
guys can
just
put some
gonna
more
keep
pictures up. That's fine.
submitting, and
Okay.
my next thing. So I have it in my brain, and I can't get at like I can't stop thinking about it. So I think I'm gonna start mixing my old world of fiber with my.
Yeah, yeah. I was, yeah.
So I've got
Great,
some
great.
ideas, and I'm,
Yeah.
and then I
See?
didn't think it was possible till
I started to
going to
mention that. Yeah.
And then
When
Yeah.
you-
you know, but
Everything
you know
is
how
that
you,
is great.
I guess, but you know how
Yeah.
you
You don't
think
think
like
about
Creativity.
And when I saw some mixed media, I was like, oh shoot, something's happening here, and I can't stop
It
thinking
starts
about it.
clicking.
So I think that's
Yeah.
the next thing. It's like, why
Yeah.
not, right? That's
Yeah.
truly.
Get your
truly
large
me.
bottles of Mod Podge,
Yeah.
and then you can apply all your fabrics to your
That's so
to your
cool.
canvas.
I even want to like
and-
puncture the canvas and pick up
Yeah.
the stitch. I mean, I
Yeah.
got some
Oh, do
things
it.
to do.
Yeah, there's no
Or even
rules.
punch a hole in it and then have the back wall of fabrics,
Yeah.
and you can see through there. And see
Yeah, there's no rules in
Yeah.
art. There's no
no,
rules in
it's
art.
all being
Which is
creative.
what I love.
Yeah, it's what's
right?
so cool.
Mhm.
I
because
have
It's
like
all
zero
opening and
fear
stuff
of
like that.
no
Yeah.
life rules. So.
That is so
That's the whole fun when you create with those large pieces. You find out what you have just in you just to come out.
Yeah.
And in that
You know.
solo show, you saw that one, that massive one.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
I feel that's my best one, and
See?
I painted that
See?
4 weeks ago,
hmm
and I just it's
And
something.
what does it
Yeah.
feel like when you sold your first piece? What did it feel like for
Yeah.
both of you guys?
It was incredible.
Oh yeah, it
I
let
cried.
I know.
You know why? Because for all my life, my home is full with art of all
Right.
people, and so all different friends I've met in my life, or ones that weren't friends, and I'm like, I gotta have that, right? And I know that feeling of loving something and like, oh my God, I want to buy
Right.
this, I need this, I feel
Right.
something, but I never thought someone would feel that
That-
from my pieces.
Right.
That's
Right.
beautiful.
So that was like a wild flip, right? 'Cause-
Yeah.
And then to have them talk about it was like me, like fanning over, like, I love your piece, and like,
Yeah.
this is this, and they're like, okay, you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah.
so I had
I
that.
know you.
I had that same moment where this, several people are like, oh my God, this reminds me of this, or my house is yellow, and like, I have this connection. I mean, I could tell you the long story, but I'm like, oh my God, this is me,
This
like
is it.
talking
I
about
gotta have it.
artists.
This is it.
And it was so beautiful, and I was like, I'm glad this brings you joy. Like that's
Yeah.
the point.
Doesn't it
Yeah,
make
that
you feel
is.
good when
That's the whole
somebody
point.
takes
That is.
something home, and you know that's making them happy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then it's
a
filling
part of
their
you.
home with your
Yes,
energy.
and you're
Yeah,
there.
It's an
You're there
extension
with
of
That you
my
created
soul,
with
like,
your
out there
hands.
doing
Yeah.
stuff, right?
That's the inspiration too, that you can create something with your hands and then actually sell it. That's the good fun part
That's
also.
So people don't understand that. So how did
Yeah.
it feel for you?
Well, it was exciting that so mine's was international when someone came to an exhibit of mine with a group and they visited from Europe and they bought the painting, so that was exciting.
Really?
It is an exciting feeling, like wow, because when you first started in the art,
You
you'd
don't
be
think,
hesitant.
"Hey, who's gonna want to buy
Yeah,
this?
ain't nobody gonna really like this
nobody's
piece of
gonna
art.
like that.
And it really wasn't as evolved as my art is now. It wasn't
Right.
in a frame. It was still, I had this
He's
little
come a
wire.
long
It had a little
way.
wire on the back, but what was it drawn to was the painting itself, and it was a handcraft. But yeah, it is an exciting feeling. It
It
is.
feels so good.
Yeah.
It feels so good. Just
How long
mix.
have you been an artist?
Well, I've been I got serious since the late '90s when I used to
Okay.
work at the Charles H. Wright Museum, and
Oh.
then when I was working there,
That's right. You were working there.
and that's when the president of the museum came down to my office and seen my accumulated work that I had in my office.
Isn't that cool? This is a
And
cool
then
story. Yeah.
she seen my work, and then she said, "Wow, this is your work." Yeah. And then she said, it was an exhibit that's about to go on a month from then, and she said, "I'm gonna make sure your art gets in the show." I'm
Isn't
like,
that cool?
"Wow."
You must have just been so excited.
That's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna get more serious about this art. That was before I got to selling. But yeah, as I'm
remember
just
that
I'm just
story.
walking through the museum and watching the people expressions and their views into my art, and then I would just walk by and ask them, "You like this art?" And they was like, "Yeah, this is a wonderful art." And then I had my museum outfit on,
Right.
and then I would say, "Well, that's my art," and then go back to work and say, "Wow, you the artist," so so yeah, so I took it from there.
I think
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
the coolest moment too, to like be in the space, like in
Yeah.
a group exhibit, and you're just hovering,
Yeah.
and like you're not really spying, but you're just like more waiting for someone to talk about it, and
Yeah.
then sometimes you don't have an opening to be like, hey, that's mine.
Yeah.
But it is really neat because they're kind of looking around, and you can almost tell, like, gosh, I wish I knew what this was or who painted it. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's mine. And
Yeah.
like, will you tell me about
Yes,
it?
they
Yeah,
be looking.
yeah,
They
yeah,
look,
yeah.
isn't it? Yes.
It's cool
It is.
because
They love to hear your
Connect with
story.
they
Yeah.
want the story,
Yeah.
and like all of mine have stories.
Yes.
Like I'm a writer, so like the storytelling
See,
is
I'm not
there
a
for
writer,
me.
but I can always talk about it.
And that's the
like
great.
my one thing. Like that's the
Yeah.
one thing. If
Yeah.
you ask me what I am, that would be it.
Okay.
And that would make it so easy when you just be able to express what you do. You say
Yeah.
you're a writer from your painting into the
Right.
painting, and you
And we
just
came
go.
from like
Yeah.
this long line of storytellers. Like we're all Irish, right? So it's just like sit back, right? I mean, going to the store is a story, right?
And
so
you got it. Yeah.
and we're all there
yeah.
for it. Like, tell me all the things.
I
So what
love
it smelled
it.
like, what it looked like, what was there, what'd you buy, right? So I'm like, well, this is a story, and so I tell them, and they're like, so I
These
think we
people
love
mixed
are
that too.
taking when they look at that, they're going to remember this.
Mhm.
That's so important. And I was in Paris. We walked into a gallery, and I'd seen this painting, and I went, and I froze. It's sitting on my wall now. And every day I look at that painting, and I think about walking into that gallery and that moment. And that's how our art. That's how all the artists. That's what. When they're buying this,
Yeah.
they're taking you home. They're
Yes,
taking your
yeah.
story.
Yeah.
They're taking your emotion. They're taking your feelings home.
Yeah.
And that's what's so important, to connect with your customers. Your
Yeah.
customer. I always call them your clients
Yeah.
or your collectors. It's so important because they they like that. They're, you know, they might like it, but when they can take a piece of you home, and they will always remember that. It's something that they will remember. I tell everybody that all the time. You do a fantastic job.
Oh,
He
thank
does a
you.
really good job. And
It's just all about expressing the art. You
yeah,
know?
yeah, you know, that's what it is. Just talking to the people and just sharing, just sharing. You know, it's this, and this. You know, that's what people love. You know, that's what they love. That's cool. Do you have another question there, sir?
Oh, I have mine because we talked about her solo, Torch of Wisdom. I had wanted to see some of the paintings
I don't
from.
think we have any time.
I didn't take no picture of mine
Yeah.
either. That when I dropped off at the Torch
Right,
of Wisdom.
right.
You know,
right.
you'd be so excited of just dropping off the pieces that you forget to take a.
And also the
I
excitement.
do that.
I learned my lesson at Palmer Park. Those things were going, and I was like, I don't need.
I always take a
picture.
picture.
They're just long gone, and I was like, that was a good lesson for me though.
Yeah.
Snap something, because
Yes, yes,
also I'm like
yes.
for my own, but also to remember like what
Yeah.
I
I
take
did.
a picture of my.
Yes,
I
and
says,
you
"Can I take
share
a
'em as
picture of you
history.
holding it?"
Yes.
Holding it.
And
asked
I've
them.
been doing that, so
Yeah.
I was trying to like get all that right, because I just
And it's
I
all
said,
in my phone. It's
Good.
5,000 pieces. You
It,
know?
it also helps on your marketing too, and there, you know, you can have pictures of your old sales, and every now and then you still share them on your page,
Right.
even though it's an old sale, and
You
then it
still-
might be a memory, a year memory, but
That's right.
it shows. It keep reminding the collectors of,
Yeah.
of
I would
oh
like to
yeah,
do,
she
like, a
did do this,
video of couple-
and then it might even show that you might creating something evolved from that style.
It's amazing when
Then
you
they
see your
can
old
look.
work.
Yes.
and you go
So when they
and
look at that piece
wow, how
and
I
they look at your
changed.
new pieces, they're like, oh yeah, I know she evolved. So it helps too.
It
Yeah.
does.
well, I think
Yeah.
it helps too. Like if you're emerging, they might not know that your work is for sale. Like, you know, some people just create
Yes.
art
Yes,
as
that
for
is true.
themselves, or
That's
they,
true.
You know, there's
Yeah.
no
Right.
sale there, so by
Yeah.
putting up those sold pieces, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't even think to ask her
Right.
if I like something, if I could buy it.
Right.
I don't know what she's doing with it all.
Right.
But if you're not saying that,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
they
You know,
don't
we got a
know.
couple more minutes, so tell us tomorrow again what's going on.
All right, so Frugal on the Fly school supply giveaway. It is a Facebook event, so you can just put that right
Okay.
in the search
All right.
and invite people. Click going, interested.
And give them the
share it.
address.
So it is 163. Let me see. 16835 East Warren in Detroit. So very close to Grosse Pointe Edge. So east side.
Okay.
And the first 250 kids that come.
Get some really
will get
cool backpacks
stuffed with school
and
supplies.
filled with fun
And it's
stuff.
also a market, so there'll be other people selling,
that's so cool.
you know, works and
Oh.
food and vegetables and all
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
it's during the farmers market.
And
that
it's
I'm doing
between
it.
what time
Okay.
and what time?
5 to 8.
5 to 8 in the evening.
Mhm.
That's interesting because most farmers markets are during the day.
Not
like-
really. Like Palmer Park is at in the evening.
Is it? I didn't
Those
even know they
weeknight
had
ones,
one. That's
yeah.
right, they did.
Yeah, I think
The
yours
other
is
ones
on
I ever go
Wednesday.
to is always during
Yeah,
the morning.
so
In
they're
the
like
early
yeah,
in the morning.
exactly. I like the mix because like Saturdays can get busy for people, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
hit it after you get home from work. Or,
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
Relaxing afternoon.
Yeah. So we're going to all be at the
You're not
Torch
in the
of
burning
Wisdom.
sun.
You're right. That's what I
Night vibe.
said. Yeah. That's why I feel. That's why I say the relaxing afternoon.
Yeah.
Anything before that, oh, your day is just.
Yeah.
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 So, God, this is so
So
good.
please, tell all the kiddos,
Tell all the
come
kids,
on down.
and Frugal on the Fly, and then she's got her journey
Joy
thing,
journey,
joy. 52 ways to find more joy in 2022. That is so
That's
cool.
so
Buy
wonderful.
flowers for your
So-
table.
Yep.
I just love it. This
I
is-
like when they watch clouds. If you haven't done that in a
Oh,
while.
I watch clouds all the time.
I do too, but
I-
I think
I'm
a lot of
driving.
people forget.
Yes. Hey guys,
Say right
I think we're
ahead.
signing off. Thank you,
you.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
I thank everybody for watching. We're gonna put all this information on the Facebook page, and we'll see if WJZZ we can get some of the stuff on it
Yeah.
and promote it and stuff like that. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. And,
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
This is
It was so
lovely.
fun,
We can
ain't
talk
it?
for another-
I could totally stay another hour.
Me too. Yeah, we're gonna go for.
Hey everyone, I'm Erica Owens of Frugal on the Fly, and I'm pretty excited because I'm going to be on WJZZ Cool TV on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, and I'm going to be on Debbie LaPratte's show, Get Down and Dirty Talkin Art, so I'm pretty excited because as a abstract painter, we're going to talk all the things art. We've been in a couple shows together. We're also going to talk probably a lot about Frugal on the Fly because many of you might not know what that is. So it's a community outreach organization in Detroit We do a lot of cool things and make sure parents know about all the free and cheap things to do in the city and the metro area and utilize those free resources. And speaking of which, Thursday night is my big annual school supply giveaway. So we are giving away at East Warren Farmers Market from 5 to 8. The first 250 kids get a backpack stuffed with school supplies. So join me on Wednesday on the radio show and show up Thursday. And we'll also be talking all about the joy journey that we came up with of free and cheap ways to find more joy in your life. So we've got lots to talk about. We'll probably run out of time, but I'm super excited to talk with everybody about art and